Welcome on back to the Rabbit Hole. Last week, basically, of the season, because Rivalry week is just like a big deal. It's part of the regular season, but kind of like sets itself aside. Please hit that subscribe button all year long. We've gotten a little bit more subscribers, and we really appreciate you guys watching and listening. I'm on a rogue setup, so I feel very uncomfortable right now, and also like just got back from vacation. And be sure to like, follow, subscribe to the channel on YouTube and Spotify, and also follow us on Twitter at The Bake Is Here, at PrestonPool405, and at Jake Cart. We're heading into the thick of the season, the thick of the end of the season, because this is where everything really matters. Huge implications for Bedlam this upcoming weekend. Huge implications for Ohio State-Michigan game this weekend. I shouldn't even have said that. I'm going to have to bleep that. No M, no blue, no nothing. Yeah, and then college football playoffs, it's shaping up to be a pretty interesting stretch. Oregon just lost. I did see that. They lost to Utah. Everyone kind of felt that they would lose all year long in that game. And I kind of am glad they did, because it doesn't really hurt Ohio State. As long as we win out, we're good. And boom, that Bedlam game is going to be huge, because hand up. Hopefully no one saw it, because I deleted it real quick. But I did tweet. I made one sports tweet all weekend. And I was walking I was in Denver, walking by a bar, and saw I saw the TV. And you know how when you're watching TV, the team on the left, the team on the right? It was Iowa State on the left, OU on the right, and then they had the score 28-21, 28 next to Iowa State, 21 next to OU. And I was like, oh, they fucking lost. I was like, so I made this tweet, sent it out. I was like, OU sucks. And then like 2 seconds later, I saw that OU won, and I was like, what the fuck? I had never seen that before, where they put the score next to the team, and it wasn't actually the team it was just, I got fucked. Fox or whatever it was fucked me on that. So I deleted that tweet real quick, because that was bad. That was a wrong one. But yeah, Preston, Jake, you guys are the dogs. You guys are battling it out for who's going to be eating the jelly beans. What are you guys' records? What are you guys sitting at? I'm 28 and I think 25 and 18 after last week. I got 3 picks for this upcoming weekend. Try to get me up to 28 and 18, 10 games over. What is your guys' record, and how you feel? Who wants to eat the jelly beans?
Yeah, Jake, you can go first.
All right. Well, it's probably going to be me, because this whole year, just for Oklahoma State to cover a lot of games, I had to fade myself pretty hard. So, I mean, last week did the typical 1-2, and, Memphis covered for me. Iowa State obviously lost. And then the worst one of all, Michigan State, Ohio State. I had Michigan State plus 20 or whatever, and they just got absolutely destroyed. So my overall record is 14-23 and a push.
That game was like 49-0 at half, right? Or something. Because like I said, I was on vacation, so I didn't really see it too much. But
it was a beatdown.
It was a bloodbath. Fucking murdered them. And huge, because I honestly feel like that's like they went into 4th gear. We're about to go into 5th gear here this upcoming weekend against that team up north, and heading in, and then obviously into the playoffs, hopefully Big Ten championship first. We got to knock off Iowa or whoever it is. Preston, what was your record? What are you sitting going into this weekend?
So going into last weekend, I was 16 and 19. I went 1-2 again. Seems to be the thing for me in the last couple of weeks. I had Wake Forest +4 versus Clemson. Clemson obviously beat Wake Forest. Decently.
I had that game too. I honestly thought Wake would cover that. Plus money for Wake this late in the season, coming off. I think they were coming off loss, or they lost 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was. So I really did think they'd handled Clemson, at least with plus points.
Yeah, and then I had SMU versus Cincy over 68.5. I figured that one was a sure thing. Both teams going to put up points. That one ended up not hitting as well. And then the only one that I did have that hit was OSU -10.5 versus Tech. That one hit. Of course, the Pokes shut them out there in Lubbock. So
huge game.
I'm now 17-21 on the season. So
17-21. Jake, what'd you say you were?
14-23.
Ooh, Preston, you might be able to crawl, or Jake, you might be able to crawl back and get it this weekend if you take 4 or 5 games, but you're going to have to freaking really ball out this weekend if you want to catch them and not have to get them jelly bean stuffed down your throat. But what was the big games this weekend for you guys other than your own teams? Obviously, beating Iowa State was huge. You had to get by that to, have really any real shot at the Big 12 championship. Preston, Jake, you guys blew out, shut out Texas Tech. And that's obviously huge going into Bedlam. But aside from those, what were the games that stuck out to you guys this weekend? Because like I said, I didn't watch a single snap.
I watched the Alabama-Arkansas game, and obviously Alabama's offense is rolling, but that defense giving up, how many points was it to Arkansas? 35 points to Arkansas at home. I think they're going to drop one, and Ohio State's probably going to move up to number 2 this week is going to be my prediction on that. But I wasn't impressed much by Alabama's defense in that one. Arkansas was able to put up points.
It's Bama-Auburn this weekend, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that game? What's the spread for that?
Oh,
do we think Auburn can like make some miracle happen?
I doubt it so. Unless Bo Nix plays, but he was out last week.
Gotcha.
Auburn's top 25, aren't they?
Auburn's not top 25 right now, but that could change last night because we record on Tuesday, so this comes out Wednesday. Yeah. That could change Tuesday night.
I was going to say, I know there is some ridiculous stat of Auburn being a top 25 team, like they've won every time they're a top 25 team or something wild like that. They have some insane stat where
as of right now it's minus 19.
And it is at Auburn. Yeah, minus 19.5 is what I see here on the 4-Letter Network website. Yep. So yeah,
that's a lot.
Who knows?
Yeah, that is a lot. And honestly, Auburn's that team. That's always a game, just like it is, for Texas and OU or Michigan State, Ohio State. Even though it didn't happen this year, Michigan, Ohio State, all these rivalry week games. Anything can happen. Anything can really happen. Miracles happen every year across the board. And so if Bama can get knocked off, that would be huge for a lot of teams, especially the Big 12. I think Bama getting knocked off right now this weekend would be huge for the Big 12 in terms of, because even right now, if Bama can somehow win out or even just only take an L to, I don't know if they'd still get in as a 2-loss team. Oregon's out.
I don't think so. Yeah, Oregon, that game was insane. Utah beat the brakes off them bad. The score is not indicative of how bad that game really. That punt return at halftime basically sealed the deal. There was no way Oregon was coming
28
back.
to nothing at halftime in that one. Bad look for the Pac-12 in Oregon.
Yeah, they're dead. I'm interested to see how far Oregon will fall, because that's, the Stanford loss is one thing, but getting the doors blown off, because it's just like the same thing with Michigan State. No matter how good you looked in the season, getting beat like that just makes everything look way, way worse.
Yeah. So Jake, you guys also beat a team pretty handily. You guys shut out Texas Tech. But let's just get right into the Bedlam talk, because I think that's really our main listeners. They're mostly fans of either of those two teams right now. And so let's just get into Bedlam talk. What are you guys feeling, Preston? I know you guys are coming off a close win to Iowa State. I think it was 7 points, right? 28-21. And so that's a close win. Jake, you guys are riding high, shut out Texas Tech. What are each of you guys' feelings going into this rivalry week, Bedlam week? Preston, go first.
Yeah, this is a game where it's not a typical Bedlam game, because both offenses really aren't, as we've seen from years past. Both defenses coming off good games. OU's defense finally decided to show up against Iowa State. The offense sputtered again. I think Caleb Williams just has the yips right now, the freshman yips. And not really the best environment to go into in Stillwater as a freshman with the yips.
Preston, you got a little hesitancy in your voice.
Hey,
right
here's the
now.
thing. If they can get the run game established early and Caleb Williams decides to, try and find more receivers than just the first one he looks at after he gets to snap, I think OU's offense will be able to do things. We saw last week against Iowa State, once they started running the football, they were able to get things going downfield and whatnot. But it just comes down to, is he going to play like a freshman, or is he going to play like the guy that he played like against Texas and Texas Tech when they played them and whatnot like that? So it's all just a big toss-up because you have that freshman quarterback coming in, but he has the talent to be able to get done.
Towards the end of this discussion, I'm going to ask each of you guys the predictions for this game. But Preston, is this one of the years where you actually have a little bit of like, whoa, Oklahoma State's actually like, they're a threat, because that defense is legit. That defense is legit. And I think it's probably the most underrated defense in the country, because they're getting no respect. Jake, I'll go to you here in a second, but Malcolm Rodriguez, I saw someone tweet out that if he had a Longhorn on his helmet, he'd be in that Buck-Kiss finalist or whatever that finalist is for his position. Someone tweeted that out, and I kind of agree. I think that whole defense is getting overlooked by everyone except for like the three people in this chat right now. Preston, is this like the one year where you're like, wow, like that defense actually gives me a little bit of worries, especially with how not great your offense has been playing?
Yeah, but here's the thing. Mike Gundy's still the head coach.
All right, that's rude. Jake, we're just going to go right to you. Let's you respond to that.
Well, I think it carries over from last week or even previous weeks. Is the last 16 quarters, we haven't let up a touchdown in 15 of the last 16 quarters. And that 16th quarter was against our third string defense against TCU, and it was 56-3. So, in basically the last 16 quarters, we haven't let up a touchdown. Our starting defense hasn't. So, that's huge. If our defense plays well,
that's a wild stat. That's a wild stat.
It's insane. Our defense has really been on fire. Now it's Bedlam, so we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we've always, like I've said all year, dude, as dogs, we play great. As favorites, we're kind of iffy. So the thing is Bedlam, I mean, I feel better about Bedlam this year than I have probably in my lifetime, except maybe 2011. And even in 11, I kind of went in there like, I don't know, just because, and then we blew them out. So, but yeah,
I was about to say, Jake, you are more the pessimistic fan, and Preston, you are more the optimistic fan. And honestly, Jake, you just threw me for a whole loop, because I thought you were about to be like, I don't know if we're going to win. It sounds like you think you might win this game.
I mean, the thing is are we going to win this game? I don't know. Should we win this game? Absolutely. I think deep down, if we're all honest with ourselves, we're a way better team than OU is. I mean, that's just.
Oh, yeah. OSU is definitely the better team at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I'm getting thrown for a loop all over the place.
Deep down,
I did not expect you to say that, Preston.
I mean, if you go back last week and look at trust me, I believe Iowa State is a good team. But the Brock Purdy fumble 6, and they just did things that were just like, man. And it just seems that's just been the trend all year for OU, is that they play teams where they're really close and they just make mistakes down the line to end up squandering games, where these past couple weeks for OSU, we've been playing really well. So, other than a major we would have to have a major letdown to not win this game, in my opinion. But it's very possible in Bedlam. I mean, it's happened many, many times in my lifetime, so I can't sit here and confidently say that, for sure we should win this game. What he's
saying is that Mike Gundy, when it comes to the Crimson and Cream, shits down his leg and hides behind all the benches. So
I don't know about if it's completely squarely on Gundy's fault. I think there's a lot of players that do a bunch of wild things, but it's one of those things that this is what I don't understand. How is OSU favored, right? We're favored to win Bedlam. And if OSU wins Bedlam, OU's out, right? We would play, if Baylor wins against Texas Tech, which I think everybody can agree that Baylor should beat Texas Tech, that it would be Baylor, Oklahoma State in the Big 12 title. Because as of right now, OSU, we punched our ticket. We're in the Big 12 title. I already have my seats. I'm sitting in section 109. And so the thing is that's a done deal, right?
Real quick, everyone, he also has already looked at college football playoff hotels too. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what would I have to be paying if we get in?
Hey, dude, you're not lying. I've looked at Orange Bowl, Peach Bowl, Fiesta Bowl.
I don't doubt it.
I wouldn't mind spending, December 31st playing Georgia in the Orange Bowl down in Miami. It's fine with me. But this is the biggest thing I don't understand. I've looked at this a million times, thought it was a typo. But okay, so Oklahoma State's favored in Bedlam, but OU is favored to win the Big 12 title. And to me, that contradicts itself of that.
Yeah.
If OU loses Bedlam, they can't get into the Big 12 title, so therefore they can't win. So how in the world is that even possible?
Vegas just wants people to just put easy money on OU, but knowing that if they don't go in, they just made a fuck ton of money for nothing. On their end, there's nothing to worry about. Preston,
yeah, that's
you mentioned getting the run. If you can establish the run game, you got good confidence that you could at least do some stuff. Do you have any confidence in your defense against Oklahoma State's offense? Not saying that Oklahoma State's offense is they're not great. They're not. I don't even know if they're good. Jake, I don't even know if Jake would consider them good. But that defense is elite. Do you feel like your defense is going to be able to hold up enough to keep your offense in the game? Because all you got to do is keep your offense in the game. That defense is going to be hard to get points on, but if you can keep your offense in the game, it's going to be worthwhile. But what are your concerns about your defense?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're coming off one of their better performances of the season, really. Last week against Iowa State, I was just getting ready to look. They held Hall to 58 yards and a touchdown on 19 carries. And I think he's one of the better backs in the country when he's playing on his level. Now, again, Iowa State's offensive line down a couple guys, I believe, or they're just not playing well at the moment. But still holding, was it Breece Hall? I always forget his name. Holding Breece Hall to 58 yards and one touchdown. You got to feel good about that. And then Purdy had, 281 yards passing and one touchdown. He's a talented passer. You got to feel good about that coming off, the loss to Baylor where you just played complete shit. So I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to, be able to shut down Spencer Sanders and OSU and all those running backs they have, but I think they have a decent shot to play well.
Jake?
Well, here's the thing is I don't know how – this is the problem. If we're completely healthy, I have no doubt that we would be okay. But as of right now, we're not super healthy. And the weird thing is they're not crazy hurt. They all suited up and kind of played, but kind of didn't play. So as of right now, Jaylen Warren, which is the biggest one, is hurt, which it's an undisclosed injury. Nobody knows what really happened. Gundy said he got the wind knocked out of him. But when we played TCU and then we played Texas Tech last week, and he was in there, but it seems like he was just a decoy. He didn't really get a lot of plays, a lot of snaps to him. And then when he did get hit, he was kind of on the ground for a long time. And then once that happened, they pulled him out instantly. And then our center is hurt. Josh Seals is hurt. So we're down 2 starting linemen. Jaylen Warren is kind of in this weird, I don't know if it's a rib or I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I'm looking right here on the score app. Jaylen Warren's listed questionable, undisclosed. Like you said, LD Brown, questionable, undisclosed. That's 2 of your top running backs right there, undisclosed injuries, and they're questionable. And then you got Braden Johnson, undisclosed, Braden Cassidy, questionable lower leg. So I don't even know if that's a big deal right there. But yeah, 2 of your top running backs are undisclosed injuries. We don't even know, are they going to play?
Well, and here's the biggest one. Well, obviously Jaylen Warren's the biggest. That's the hugest piece of the puzzle. Of Jaylen has carried us all year in tough situations. We have a bunch of great running backs coming up, because I think last game you kind of saw where in the beginning of the season we had a lot of freshmen baptized by fire. And now you get into the end of the season where they have a lot of more experience that they've started to come, like John Paul Richardson had a huge catch last week, Blaine Green down the sideline. All those true freshmen are actually starting to play up to their potential now. So I think that gives us a lot of help. But, if Jalen can't go, like we're in serious trouble in the run game. And the biggest one nobody's talking about is Brendan Presley. Brendan Presley didn't play last week at all. We have no idea how he's hurt, why he's hurt, nothing. It's just and we released, the crazy thing is Gundy already released his injury report and all those people are on it, like that they're going to play. But looking how it looked last week, like I don't know how Josh Seals is going to play. Like he really played hurt last week and got re-injured last week and got basically carried off the field, and he's supposed to play in Bedlam. I just don't see how it's going to happen.
Yeah, so it seems like that offense is as bewildered as it is, and you said they've come around, they got experience under their belt, but they're injured, and so that gives OU's defense that chance to where, like I said, as long as you guys keep that your offense. If OU's defense can hold Oklahoma State's offense to a minimum, then you keep your own offense, the Sooners' offense, in the game, because I do think that defense, as long as you guys just play like you've been playing, it's going to be lights out, and it's going to be hard for Oklahoma to score the ball, move that ball down the field. I just do. You guys have been struggling with the last couple weeks, but it is rivalry week. It's anything can happen, just like any given Sunday, any given Saturday. Every year, that Bedlam game, anything can happen. More often than not, it's going to go to the red way. But I do think it's probably going to. I think Oklahoma State's winning this game. I really do, and that's just not me. That's not just me being a Sooner hater or anything. I do think Oklahoma State, this is their year to actually make things interesting, if you will. And also that.
So here's another tidbit that I just thought of. Baylor plays at 11 a.m. right? So they play Tech at 11 a.m. Say Baylor loses that game, and it's officially OU versus OSU in the Big 12 championship, no matter what happens at that game that night. Do you think that changes anything?
Obviously it definitely gets players going like, oh, we got a shot, we got a chance. Like we're still in it. Will it have like an actual effect on game to play like mentality? I don't know, but definitely like that first quarter, something might give an extra boost for the Sooners to be like, oh, hey, we're still in this. Like they might have an elite defense, but we're not out of it yet. Like we're in it. But yeah, I don't know. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that would bode well for us. I think the thing is, dude, is that if Baylor loses and OU automatically knows you're in, that, I don't know if the game strategy really changes much, but at least that weight is lifted off of you instead of being in panic mode. Because that's the only thing that kind of worries me right now is that since we're locked in and we know we're going no matter what, like it's hard not to look forward. I mean, it's Bedlam, so we're not. But, the thing is with OU.
Sounds like you are.
Well, here's the thing. If Baylor wins, you're do or die if you're OU. Like, This is it. If you don't win this game, you're out. So, like, you're going to throw the fucking kitchen sink at us no matter what happens. So, the thing is if Baylor, if you're sitting at OU and Baylor loses and you're like, I'm automatically in, you're like, well, we have to play next week on a neutral field. And then OU in championship Big 12, they play extremely well. So, that's kind of the thing.
Here's another tidbit, Preston, that I just thought of. And it's kind of a different way of what you just mentioned is if Baylor does win and you guys are definitely out of the Big 12 championship, does Lincoln just take the LSU job before Bedlam? Does he? Like he might just jump. He might just be like, I can't be eliminated from the Big 12 if I'm not even in the Big 12. I just go to the SEC, go to LSU. I saw sources say that he's going to LSU no matter what after the game.
Yeah, that's also LSU message boards, so we know how crazy that could get.
What's the crazier message board? Texas A&M fans or LSU?
A&M fans, one, because they're just like a massive cult down there, but LSU fans just because they're down there wrestling gators and
they don't have any.
Dude, LSU fans are absolutely insane. Like. I would say the thing about A&M is that they're, the cult and everything about it, like they have weird traditions, but they kind of stay in their own bubble. Like LSU fans have historically like vandalized like millions of dollars worth of property and like they're more about like doing stuff to other people. A&M's like do it to themselves.
Yeah. And also one more tidbit I wanted to mention is it's so nice. It's one of the greatest feelings. It's a holiday. It lifts your spirits when Texas is going to go under 500. I mean, they are just bad. They are so bad. Like, I love going on Twitter and seeing that fan base just be like, I'm done with Texas. And then like a week later, they're like, we're back. Texas is back. Or like the next season, they're like, or right when the season ends, they're like, we're back next year. This was a rebuild year. Next year, we're back. They say that every year. It's so fun to watch them get demoralized. And if they lose to Kansas State and they go, I think their record, they've only got 4 wins. So they'll be 4-8. That would be amazing. That'd be awesome to have them go 4-8. That is down bad for Texas
and finish in the bottom third of the Big 12.
Yeah, no, honestly, they are bad on bottom feeders.
If Kansas State and Kansas both win out and Texas loses out, Texas will finish last in the Big 12.
That's amazing. That would be amazing. If you're
Kansas, I'm about to check.
If you're Kansas Jayhawks, you would never let them. You would never let them down or never let it go.
Here's the simple truth, right? As we're sitting right now, like if OSU won out, went to the playoff, all that stuff, right? That would be insane. But
speaking of Jake, if you win Bedlam and the Big 12 championship, do you think you're in now with Oregon being out?
I believe so. I believe
what will happen is,
yeah. So basically, this is what my thought process is that Georgia's basically in almost 100%. No matter what.
100%.
You know, at this point, so that's a lock spot. You can, throw away the key on that. And then you're going to have a Big Ten winner, which is probably going to be Ohio State. That's pretty much. So it'll be Georgia, Ohio State. Hopefully Bama loses. We'll get Bama a loss if they lose this week in the Iron Bowl, or to Georgia gets 2 losses, get out. So there'll be 2 spots open. I believe if we beat OU and beat Baylor back-to-back weeks, we would have to jump Notre Dame and maybe hopefully Cincinnati. So, if we jump both of those teams, I just don't see how if there's 2 open spots, I don't see how a 1 loss either way, even if it's OU, if OU beats us twice.
I did forget about the Notre Dame factor.
Yeah.
Notre Dame might get in. Because since he's going to go, since he's now in the top 4 with Oregon losing, it's going to, like this week, it's ideally probably going to be 1 Georgia, 2 Bama, 3 Ohio State, 4 Cincy, Michigan State, Notre Dame, OSU. But
I think Michigan State's going to drop out of the top 10
this week.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You're right. So everyone will move up 1, and then Notre Dame and Oklahoma State might move up 2 spots because there's 2 dropping, Oregon and Michigan State. But since he can still get in, you guys just have to worry about Notre Dame, really.
Yeah,
that's really all you have to worry about.
But
if you do,
but they have the extra factor of a championship game.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I agree, and I don't think Notre Dame should get in.
Yeah, if there's 2 open slots left, and I obviously think people are going to leapfrog Cincy. That's just what's going to happen. Like I just don't see how Cincy's going to get in, and especially if Notre Dame somehow chokes a game away or something, because that's really the only solid win.
Cincy still has to play a decent Houston team in their conference championship game. So.
Yeah,
that's true.
So if they end up losing that, then it's done.
Notre Dame plays Stanford. If Stanford played spoiler once with Oregon, if they can do it again, I don't think they will. But hey, you never know.
So are you prepared to agree with us this week that the Big Ten is overrated and in cahoots because they have a college game day is in Ann Arbor this weekend?
As it should be. Bedlam. It's the greatest rivalry.
But the Big Ten. But the Big Ten is trash. I mean, here's the thing. What happens when Ohio State beats Michigan by 50?
2 top 6 teams?
But does anyone really think that Michigan is that good? No.
Like, you think that'll be a better game than Bedlam?
I played the fifth.
Yeah, that's
that's
ridiculous.
my Fifth Amendment right.
It's such a good game, Jake, that they're playing that thing at 11 a.m.
Well, it's so
always
good
11.
that this is the second college game day that they've
in a row. Yeah.
It's always at 11.
It's in Ann Arbor. Never mind. I say it was in Columbus last week. All right.
Yeah. I do think that there's only one team in the Big Ten that really even has a shot, not just to make the playoffs, but like to make a difference in the playoffs or have a shot at even doing anything in the playoffs. I do think it's Ohio State. That's an unbiased take. I'm not even swaying my opinion.
I mean, that's true. I think if Michigan were to win out, they would get in, but yeah.
I think if they win out, they're going to get in, but I don't think they're good enough to do anything. I think it would be like Cincy going there or something.
Like I said, with the whole beginning, I think the Big Ten's overrated. I think all the teams
real quick, I want you guys to give your what you guys think the final score of this Bedlam game is going to be, and then we'll get into each of our picks for this last week of our pick'em, and then we'll wrap up the show. So what, Preston, Jake, whichever, you guys can either rock, paper, scissors, or just one of you go first. What you think the final score will be of the Bedlam game and the outcome?
I can go first because I'm going to take Chris's route and give my Fifth Amendment right. The score will be NA.
No. There's no Fifth Amendment right.
I will say
this in this situation.
This is what I will say. If our defense plays the way that they absolutely should play, barring a miracle on our defense somehow doesn't play good, the only thing that I could see is that if we put 30 points on the board, we should win this game. That's the way that I look at it.
What do you think the score? What do you want the score to be? Let's just say that. What do you want the score to be?
I mean, bro, here's the thing. Here's the thing that makes me freaking nervous is that every single person across the country I haven't seen one person pick OU. Not one person in the entire country pick. I've been looking and searching to find hope.
Maybe you should call Joe and see if he'll take OU.
Oh God, dude. I don't know if that'd be good or bad. That's another coin flip for me. But scores is one of those things of.
All right, OU, Preston, what do you think?
Somewhere in the 20s, OSU somewhere in the 30s. Let's see. I guess
it's the time of year where rent is due. The Sooners traveling up to Stillwater. I think OU pulls it out by a field goal. I don't know a final score, but I think OU can get it by
31-29.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I won't say a final score because this is one of those games either way, but I think OU can get it by a field goal.
All right. Well, I think Oklahoma State's going to win. We're going to be at the game, so keep your eyes out on Twitter for some funny videos, especially if Jake's heart gets ripped out. That'll be going viral for sure. Hopefully, I think Oklahoma State wins this game. I think Preston, you nailed it on the head. If you guys can establish the run game, you have a chance. But I don't know if you're going to be able to. I think that defense is just overlooked and way too elite. I think it's going to be 27-17, 27-17, Oklahoma State. And then for the Ohio State team up north game, I think it's going to be 56-0. That's what I think it's going to be. So 56-0 for Ohio State going into finishing the weekend.
I will say this. It sounds ridiculous. Wouldn't shock me one bit. Like it's 56-0 sounds like an insane score that couldn't happen. But to be honest, for like watching the games and how they played out and everything and how hot Ohio State is right now.
Yeah.
And the way that, when's the last time Michigan even beat Ohio State?
They've won one time in 21 years or one time in 20 years. It's insane. And Preston, just like you said for Mike Gundy, he shits down his pants when he plays OU. Jim Harbaugh does the same thing for any team that is like supposed to be anything. Like he can beat Illinois, he can beat Nebraska, but he can't beat. Well, I guess they didn't beat Michigan State. He can't beat teams that the rivals. They can't beat rivals. He shits down his pants, especially Ohio State. I think it's Ohio State 56-0. Let's get into our picks real quick for the weekend. We'll wrap up the show and call it a day. I'll go first just because I'm just going to do a quick thing. I'm going to take all year. I don't think I've taken them all year, and I've wanted to each week, but I haven't found a good game to take them. I'm going to take Nutsack UTSA -10.5. I'm going to take Cincy -14. I think they get that win. They really want to get in the playoffs. Obviously, I think they need a big win to do so. So -14 for Cincy. And then the game that obviously I think is going to be 56-0. Ohio State -8. That's honestly very disrespectful. CJ Stroud should be the Heisman this year. He's played lights out the last couple of weeks, especially this past week. Fucking phenomenal. I think he had like 300 yards in the first half, 5 touchdowns in the first half. It was crazy. I mean, that blew him out of the water. So Cincy -14, Ohio State -8, and UTSA nutsack -10.5. Preston, you go with your picks, and I think we can just toss it up that I've won the pick'em this year, right? So I think Jake, you have that trophy. I mean, we'll do it next week, but you got that trophy right behind you. I'm gonna have to next week after this weekend. I'm gonna have to have that ready and propped up behind me, not on the wall, but my normal setup. Jake, Preston, actually, you go next and knock your picks out.
Yeah, I'll do real quick. I have Ohio State -8 versus Michigan, and then I have a couple dogs on my my list here. I have Oregon State +7 versus Oregon. Similar opponent. Oregon State beat Utah. Oregon lost to Utah last week. Oregon State playing decent this season, which they're like 7-4, but that's decent for Oregon State.
Yeah.
And then this one, I was interesting to see how this team bounces back from last week. Michigan State +1 versus Penn State. I just like the +1 on that. I think that's one that you can't really shy away from right there. I'll take the +1 for Michigan State on that. So I had Ohio State -8, Oregon State +7, and Michigan State +1 this week.
I almost took both of those, that Oregon State and Michigan State +1. I like them both because I took Arizona State this last week and Oregon State just blew them out. I mean, it was I don't know the exact score, but like the last time I seen it, I was like, oh my God, why did I even take Arizona State? But Jake, go ahead with your picks.
Well, I'm going to ride with one of my old favorites. I'm going to take K-State +3 against Texas on that's a Friday night game, I think.
Yeah. No, Friday morning, 11 a.m.
Yeah, 11 a.m. on a Friday. So, and now K-State Texas would fall even farther in the Big 12. So that would be a good one. I'm going to take this is a risky one. This is the riskiest one of them all. I'm going to take Baylor -14 against Texas Tech. Texas Tech, just their quarterback did not, he had that one great game to start, and then last week just completely got demoralized. I think Baylor's defense is insane. Baylor's going to have to be playing out of their mind. They want to get in the Big 12 championship, at least to have a shot. Texas Tech's kind of like sitting there in la-la land. And then obviously I always take game day. So, yeah, I'm going to take Ohio State -8. I just don't think Michigan is that good. Like, they've struggled all year, and they've beaten some teams that are decent, but nothing that really surprised me. Ohio State at least has shown a lot of games this year that they can blow people out. So I think Ohio State's a way better team. -8, decent.
Let's do a Thanksgiving special and pick the Egg Bowl because that's always a fun game. I think we'll probably all be watching it, I assume. I at least have it on during Thanksgiving while you're chit-chatting with family and friends or whatever. Egg Bowl. Mississippi State is -1 right now. I don't know where they're going to be on the rankings after Tuesday night's rankings come out. As of right now, they are 25 and Ole Miss is 12. I think that will be changing up quite a bit for both of them. But Mississippi State is -1. Who are you guys taking? I'm gonna go with Mississippi State. I think that'd be fun to watch them win the Egg Bowl this year. They're at home. Respect to Brandon Walker, even though Barstool Mintz is funny, but Brandon Walker's down. He needs something to be happy about. So I'm going to go Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl.
Hey, fellas, I'm taking Joey Freshwater and the Ole Miss Rebels.
You know what? I just had a thought. And as soon as I said my pick, I have to switch it. I have to ride with Matt Corral. He pulled through for me big in the beginning of the year on a prop bet. So I switched my pick and I'm going Ole Miss, go Rebels. Fuck you, Brandon Walker, I guess.
So you said it's at Mississippi State, right?
Yeah, it's at Mississippi State.
Okay. I'll be the odd one out. I'll take Mississippi State. It's such a toss-up game. It's such a weird class of cultures of Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach and Mustard and golf balls.
The DK Metcalf pissing like a dog.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need someone pissing like a dog.
Yeah.
That's what we need this game.
That's honestly one of the funnest games to watch all year, every year, because it's just these Southern boys doing football and just wild antics all the time. So
also, can we start a petition for Mississippi to be ranked the worst state in the 50 states?
We can start the petition. I don't know if I want to sign it because I feel
drive through there and you're just like, God, I can't wait to get to the next state.
That's Kansas, though. I just had to drive through Kansas twice there and back to Colorado, and Kansas is boring. But
there's nothing in Kansas, but
yeah. So I had to flip my pick from Mississippi State. Immediately flipped it to Ole Miss because I just remembered Matt Corral saved my ass on a prop bet earlier this year. So I got to respect to Ole Miss, respect to him. I got to go with them, and Ole Miss Rebs +1.
I will say, dude, coming toward the end of the season, for me as an Oklahoma State fan, it's been a huge year for us. We had an 8-win total. We're sitting at 10-1. We hit the over, beat expectations, unranked coming in, and then we will see what's going to go down Tuesday of where we will be. But I'd be shocked if we're anything less than 7. I mean, all right. That's a bare minimum. So,
Preston, any final words before Bedlam?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, you loses. I might have to pull the pin on this thing.
Oh my God. All right. I'm going to call someone after we stop this. I'll be calling someone to check it out. You all right? Preston, where are you watching the game? What are you doing for the game for Bedlam?
I'm not sure. Probably either here at the house or my buddy's parents where we normally watch the games at. So.
All right. Well, stay tuned on Twitter. Keep an eye out for any cool videos that Jake
confirmed though that the cold ones will be flowing, so I probably will not be on Twitter because that's when I say bad stuff.
That's fine. Just keep your eyes peeled to watch Jake's heart get ripped out if it does. That's always going to be fun. But if they win, Jake might be crying as well. So that could also be a funny video. So Either way, keep your eyes out on Twitter. Follow us at The Bacon here, at Jake Cart, at PrestonPool405. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on the channel. Follow us on Spotify if you're just listening. Thanks all year long. Thank you. We all really appreciate it. Go Bucks. Go Bucks.
So much sooner.